As we come around the corner, we're going to be taking a look at an Icee Blue Juniper here. You just never know with landscaping and gardening what the heck happened. This was beautiful last fall, put in about 10 years ago, doing great. And then just like that, completely dead this spring. Just like that. This thing was so healthy for the last 10 years. The only thing I can think of, since I've got other Icee Blue Junipers in the landscape, in the gardens, they're all doing just fine. This one had to be that girdling, I think, under there. So what we're going to do today, we're going to pull the tractor over. We're going to get a strap underneath there, and we're going to try to pull it back best we can. If it doesn't come out right away, then we're just going to cut some of those backside roots. There's a couple different ways you can go about getting something like this out of here. If you start with a pruner going through and cutting the branches, you're going to find it takes a long time. There's hundreds and hundreds of stems in there. The quicker, more easy way is get a strap under there, and that's what we're going to do. Pull that strap underneath. We're going to hook the tractor up, pull back, and if it doesn't pull out right away, at least hopefully it'll lift up those lower branches. We can get in there with the shovel, start severing some roots, and then that typically will release the plant. Rope tightens up and it should pop right out of there. One of the things about waiting on junipers already are kind of spiny, kind of sharp. As they dry, they get even worse. That spine, they're sharp. So your best friend on something like this, make sure leather gloves are the best. Working with roses, barberries, junipers, pines, this is the way to go. And I'm also going to recommend these root slayer shovels. Have that sharp razor type edge on them, and it's just amazing the difference it can make when you're trying to cut some roots. We're going to start with a bigger, thicker rope, like a tow rope. They don't knot up as bad. If you use a tie down strap and you pull on that and you cinch it, you might have a knot that you can't get out. So we'll go ahead and we'll get this worked under there. Interesting, as I'm pulling through there, I can tell that I planted it right about here next to that pathway. And we had to keep it pruned so we could keep walking through there. But most of the growth was allowed to grow way out in this area. After we get this pulled out, we're just not sure what we want to put back in here. This is a main focal point for us. And we're sure we don't want to put another sprawling juniper back in. I'm starting to learn and remember, it can get big on you quick. Don't get me wrong, I love them. What I'm trying to do, I want to get around one more time. So when we put the tension on it, it'll tighten it up. This is one of those projects, a couple people. Works pretty nice. One guy can pull it back. But I'm stubborn. I sure like the adventure doing these projects on my own. Okay, we've wrapped it around twice. There we go. Put that tension on it. Bring the tractor up at this point. That's coming out way harder than I expected. We'll see if we can get in there and cut a few roots. I love landscaping with rock, but boy, this is definitely the downside to it. Let's do some detective work if we see some evidence of girdling under there. Otherwise, I have no idea why this thing would just die out. Pull that back. Okay, so all this tissue that's white, that's from our rope. And I don't see any girdling. This thing just absolutely winter killed for no particular reason. Just baffling. Yeah, so even though we like to know why things happen on this one, it's a mystery to me. No idea. Okay, a little bit of a mess here to clean up. It's not as bad as you think though. on something like this. Since I don't like to use fabric or poly, that's one problem I don't have to mess with. It's easy enough to rake that soil back. And then by the time you get a blower out, blow out some of those needles, do some watering, that'll clean up just fine. We'll go ahead and see if my prediction is true about using a thicker rope like that. You don't have to worry about it cinching it so tight. This was the strap I was referring to before, just a tie down strap. If you put those around there like that, like I say, they bind into a knot. You're never going to get that out. And then these aren't designed for that much tension. You have to make sure you've got a pretty good tow rope, or like I say, a good sized chain when you're really putting that pressure on this. And if this doesn't come out quickly, and that's what editing's for, I'll just loosen it up without you knowing. She's not knotted, it just broke through some other branches, and so it got all tied up in there. There we go. That's the way to go. It's like that. You'd think this was heavy, but after these dry down, this thing is light. Hardly anything to these junipers once they dry out. It's just incredible. You know, you could almost make some kind of art form out of that, couldn't you? Huh? What do you think? Oh, don't get me started. I got more ideas than time. And if you've got just one more minute, there's one other thing I wanted to show you. We'll take you just for a quick walk back to one of the other Icee Blue Junipers. Maybe a second one I'll show you too. But one of the reasons that I thought that this was a girdling type situation that killed it off, I've got another bed back here that I started cutting back last fall. And this one got away from me. It had a lot of 9 bark, that yellow that you see off into the distance. Completely cut that back, rejuvenated. I'm gonna start working on a video, kind of show you this whole process, but okay, look at this. Look at this Icee Blue Juniper here. Same plant, still some good live growth in here, but back up in here last fall when I started getting into this, there was a lot of girdling on this one. Back down in there. And I've since cut a lot of it out of here already. But yeah, that's why I thought that one was going to be a girdle situation too. Just really dumbfounded why that died back. And if you're wondering what branches we've already got in our truck, we recently had to cut back a dappled willow. We had some injury on that plant as well. So we're getting through the projects. Thanks for letting me share this one with you. I appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you again next video.